Assalamualaikum everybody. I'm just here to reflect on my experience trying to fundraise by selling chai and biscuits. Just to give a little background. Part of the MSA trying to raise funds for Charity Week, which is basically a week where we're trying to raise funds for disaster relief and emergency relief in places like Afghanistan, for earthquakes, Palestine, for obvious reasons. Basically just going for charity. I decided that I will make something that I'm good at, which is chai, but also cookies. So I've actually never made cookies in my life before. Yeah, I'm actually not that big of a cook. I'd like to be, but life. So I was actually part of a cooking course last semester, and we cooked during our labs and we cooked during our midterm. And I remember that there was this one Chinese recipe from the 13th century where we made sesame seed cookies. I was not the one who made it, somebody else did. I was the one focusing on making chai and selling it, but I did like taste the cookies and they were absolutely delicious. It went really well with the chai, so I was like, hey, this is an opportunity for me to, you know, raise funds and not just sell chai like I would normally do, but also maybe sell cookies. You know, it might be a good idea and I'll be able to raise more money. I'm just supposed to follow the recipe, right? And hopefully it's gonna turn out to be as good as it was when somebody else made it. That's not what happened. I spent 2 hours just making the cookies and making the chai simultaneously. So I made around 60 cookies. Just the kneading process was so hectic and like so effortful. And because I've never made cookies before, I don't know how much water is required, how much flour is required, because the recipe doesn't tell you exactly how much water. They just say like pour as much water to make it smooth. So maybe I added too much water, too little, I don't know what happened, but the cookies did not turn out as I wanted them to. Despite spending like 2.5 hours working on this, I made like 4 trays worth of cookies and a big thermos of chai. So when I was taking out the second batch of cookies, I did not have the opportunity to let it rest and cool down, which meant that the cookies were like softer and more chewy than they were supposed to be, and they just looked ugly. Like like I don't know, like when somebody else made it, it just looked better compared to how I made it. Taste wise, like it was fine, but it just felt like dough, sweetened dough. So I was like, are people even gonna pay for this? And then when I was making the chai, I was in a rush because I was like coordinating it with the cookies, and I felt like it was a little too sweet and also like not thick enough. And I like my chai to be like creamy and not that sweet. So I was really stressed and I was running late because the event was like 6 to 8. So I was gonna go by the end of it. I failed to realize that maybe I should have gone at the beginning of the event, because like that's like peak time where you want to drink something caffeinated, not at 8-9 p.m. where it's like night and you might not want to drink chai. I was running late, you know, I reached around like 8:20 whatever, and I was really stressed. Like I was like, people are not even gonna like my cookies. I wasted so much time, I put in so much effort, it didn't even turn out to be as I wanted it to be. And even the chai is something that I'm supposed to be good at, didn't even turn out as I wanted it to be. And this is really funny because every time I make chai I feel like it's not good, but then people end up liking it anyway, and then in the back of my head I'm like, you know, maybe they're just being nice. And most of the time, like I don't even drink my chai or really taste it. I just kind of make it in a rush. And I'm also lactose intolerant, by the way, so I can't like drink a big amount. So I called the Uber, and it's just my luck, even the Uber driver has like the wrong address, so he's late. Finally he came like 5 minutes later than he was supposed to. When I went into the car, he was like, how are you doing? And I was like, I'm stressed. He's like, why are you stressed? Is everything okay? And I'm like, yeah. What I mean is that I'm running late for an event and I cooked for the past 2 hours and I'm not happy with it. I feel like nobody's gonna buy it. I'm not gonna be able to raise funds for charity, and I spent so much time and effort, and now it's just gonna go to waste. And what if there's nobody there because I'm late? And I was just like, just feeling horrible, honestly, and stressed. So then the Uber driver was just an angel, like mashallah, alhamdulillah. He also looked like my instructor, by the way, like my Islamic course instructor. I was so shocked. I was like I know you. Does he like part-time Uber drive? Thanks. I told him it's for charity, it's going to Palestine and, you know, earthquakes and all of that stuff. And he's like, wow, mashallah, may Allah bless you. You're putting in so much effort, and, you know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not gonna let that go into vain. So don't worry about it. I'm sure people are gonna be there. I'm sure people are gonna love it. And even if they're not, like, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is gonna reward you for your efforts. So don't worry about it at all. And I'm sure it'll be fine. Like, he was trying to console me, and I really appreciated that. Like, that was reducing my stress levels, alhamdulillah. So then I actually gave him a cookie to taste. I was like, how about you just take a cookie and let me know what you think? And then he ate it and he's like, oh, mashallah, this is perfect. You know, they're like, why are you so worried? It's not too sweet at all, and I love it. Like, the texture and everything, it's simple, it's nice, it'll go well with the chai, and I don't understand why you're so worried. It's really good. Like, don't worry about it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with you and stuff. And that made me really happy, but I was still stressed. Then he dropped me, and I'm like rushing to the event. Okay, thankfully there are people, like, they're having pizza, they're having dinner, so I wasn't that late. But I was just so demotivated at that point where, like, you know, when you're having anxiety and when you're not confident about yourself or the things that you have made in your cooking and stuff, then you don't even feel like marketing. Basically, you don't feel like making an announcement and be like, hey, I made cookies, or hey, I made chai, come have some, I'm raising funds. It doesn't feel like that because you might be embarrassing yourself. Like, I felt like I would be embarrassing myself by selling shitty cookies and bad chai. So I'm like, what's the point? Like, should I even do this? Then I was like, whatever. I just start setting up, you know, I grab a table and I'm putting the chai and all of, like, the stuff on the table and the cookies and all that. Oh yeah, back up a little, like, forgot to mention this. So when I was running late, right, I got a message from the organizer, so the imam of the event, and he sent me a video message. He was like, Halia, where are you at? We got people waiting for you, waiting for your chai. And he actually took a video of, like, several people that were like, we want chai, we want chai. It was really funny, and that motivated me, but that also demotivated me because I was like, yo, like, these guys are expecting chai, they're waiting for it, and it's just gonna be bad. So I go slowly, I'm, you know, increasing my confidence. There's some people that kind of know me for my chai, so they come and line up, and I reduced the price of the chai and the cookies than what I had originally intended. So originally I had intended $5, but because I was like, nah, it's not that good anymore, I gotta reduce it, people are not gonna buy it, like, it's a waste of money. So then I sold it for $4, and the cookies I sold it for $1 instead of 1.5. A lot of people liked it, but I thought they were just being nice or fake. The cookies were barely being sold out because I think, and this is just to convince myself, I think people had already eaten, so they were not hungry, etc. Eventually, like, I had more people come in, and then more people that were acting genuine about it, like, hey, I actually do like your child, it's really nice and stuff. And there were some people that were paying for others who I really appreciate, and there were some people that were encouraging other people to have my chai and cookies, and, like, you know who I'm talking about, and I really appreciate you. May Allah bless you. And so that motivated me a little bit. And then even though I came late and people had left, etc., like around 70% or 60% of the chai was already done, and maybe like 5% of the cookies, because I made like a lot, right, like 60 cookies. So then it was around like 9:30 p.m. The prayer room was empty. I was like, okay, it's time for me to leave. I'm gonna go downstairs and start selling there. This is completely to random people, not even Muslims. I'm just going to people randomly and pitching to them, hey, you know, I'm raising funds for charity week, made homemade chai and I'm selling for $4, would you be interested? So I'm literally just going to groups and stuff, and I managed to, like, sell that way. Some people bought it, some people didn't. And I even went to, like, the Pita Light people, also went to, like, the supermarket that's there in the student center. So I managed to, like, alhamdulillah, finish up the chai. But I was still not very happy about it because my goal at that point was just to, like, finish it and go home. But then the tables kind of turned when I met this one person who I just randomly went up to, and I was like, hey, would you be interested in drinking my chai? It's homemade. And she's like, chai? Homemade? You made it? And then I open it up and I'm like, do you want to see it? Do you want to smell it? And she's smelling it and she's like, wow, this smells amazing. I haven't had chai in a whole year. Like, I definitely want chai. Please give me chai. I was really, like, happy to see her reaction and her excitement to try out my chai, and I was like, oh my god, like, somebody's really excited. I hope they like it. And she did. It reminded her of her mom's chai, and she really loved it. And like just looking at her and her reaction just gave me that boost of confidence that I really needed, that I was lacking throughout the event. And she loved it so much that she wanted me to sponsor her next event for chai. And it was just like such an intimate moment for me and for her, because like it's something that she has been looking for constantly and not been getting. And you know, I think she's away from her mother as well, so it reminded her of her mom's chai, and it was like authentic and Indian, and like she just loved it. It was a perfect consistency and sweetness and everything. And I was like, you really like it that much? Drank it myself, and then I realized, hey, it's actually not that bad. Like, it's actually pretty good. And I guess I have this problem where I'm like exaggerating how bad things are. Like, given the fact that I'm a perfectionist, I always try to, like, if something's not at 100% or like 95%, then I think it's bad. And I don't know, initially it felt too sweet, but then when I tasted it in the end, after it cooled down a little bit, it was not, so it was pretty good. So alhamdulillah, like that was my whole experience. It ended in a beautiful way. It started off very hectic, but I'm really glad that I was able to sell all of the chai. I can use the cookies for the future events. So I managed to raise $120, alhamdulillah, just by selling all of the chai and a little bit of the cookies. And I only bought it, like the cost of everything might have been like $10. Some people were really generous enough to obviously donate more, and like Jazakallah, like I really appreciate those people. So I'm gonna continue to do this, and hopefully I go to Jannah for this.